What if the S Pen isn't gone forever, just waiting for the right moment to return? That's the question many Samsung users are now asking after a surprising update from the company. When Samsung removed Bluetooth from the S Pen in the Galaxy S25 Ultra and then completely ditched pen support in the Galaxy Z Fold 7, most people assumed it was the end of the road for this handy tool. But hold on, there's more to the story. Samsung's executive director of the Mobile Experience Division, Kong Min-seok, recently shared some thoughts that have sparked hope among fans. He explained that the decision to drop the S Pen from the Fold 7 was mainly to keep the phone as slim and lightweight as possible. Apparently, there's not yet a way to make room for the pen's tech without compromising on size and weight. According to Kong, right now users can either have a super thin foldable or the S Pen, but not both. That might sound like the end of the line for the pen, but Kong also hinted that Samsung is keeping the door open. He said the company is always working on improvements and could consider bringing the S Pen back in a future foldable model, especially if there's enough demand for it. That's the key. Samsung seems to be using consumer interest as a deciding factor. If users really want it back and make enough noise, there's a chance the company could make it happen. Still, you can't ignore Samsung's reasoning. They say Bluetooth was dropped from the S Pen because hardly anyone was using it. That suggests the company is trying to streamline features based on what people actually use in the long run. The S Pen's comeback might depend on more advanced battery technology. Samsung might be waiting for denser silicon batteries to be ready. That would allow them to include the S Pen without shrinking the battery size or making the device bulky, and that's not the only twist. Reports suggest Samsung is thinking about removing the S Pen from the Galaxy S26 Ultra too. That's a big deal. The Ultra series is loved by power users, many of whom rely on the S Pen. If the pen disappears from the S26 Ultra, it might push longtime fans to reconsider their upgrade plans. But from Samsung's side, it would open up more space for a larger battery, which is always a priority. So they're trying to figure out what users value more, battery life or the pen. It's a tough call. Some people have even suggested bringing back the Galaxy Note series to give the S Pen a proper home again. Others think Samsung should offer two versions of the Ultra each year, one with a pen and one without. That could work, but it might also create confusion and add pressure to the production process. What makes the Galaxy Z Flip 7 stand out in 2025's crowded smartphone market? Well, Samsung has finally pushed its iconic clamshell foldable beyond just good looks this time. It's got meaningful upgrades across the board. Unveiled on July 9 in New York City, the Galaxy Z Flip 7 now brings a much larger and more practical 4.1-inch flex window cover screen that wraps around the cameras, a big leap from the 3.4-inch display on the previous Flip models. This display refreshes at 120 Hz and hits up to 2600 nits brightness, so even under direct sunlight, it stays super visible. And yes, while you still can't run all apps on the outer screen by default, Samsung's Good Lock app can unlock that capability for tech-savvy users. Inside, the foldable now has a 6.9-inch display, also with a 120 Hz refresh rate and 2600 nits brightness, protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2. It's the first flip phone ever to run on an Exynos chip in this case. The 10-core Exynos 2500 processor with AMD's Xclipse 950 GPU, and it powers the device across all global markets, including the United States. You also get 12 GB of RAM and storage options of either 256 GB or 512 GB. Number 1 TB variant here, as Samsung keeps that for its Ultra flagship models. On the connectivity front, this phone doesn't hold back. It includes 5G, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.4, NFC, and even satellite messaging support thanks to the new chip. Battery life gets a notable upgrade too. The Flip 7 houses a 4,300 mAh battery, which is 300 mAh more than the Flip 6 and just shy of the Galaxy Z Fold's capacity. That's great news for anyone who wants all-day usage on a stylish foldable. Charging remains the same, with 25-watt fast wired charging, 15-watt wireless charging, and for 0.5-watt reverse wireless charging. The camera setup might be the only place where flip fans could feel a bit let down. It still includes a 50 megapixels main camera, a 12 megapixels ultra-wide camera, and a 10 megapixels front camera, with no telephoto lens in sight. But Samsung is making up for it with better software processing, improved low-light shots, real-time filters, and a new zoom slider. Selfies continue to shine thanks to flex mode and the ability to use the rear camera with the cover screen as a viewfinder. On the software side, the Flip 7 comes with One UI 8 based on Android 16, and for the first time ever, what if Samsung's next big leap in smartphone photography doesn't come from a foldable, but from a sleek, flat flagship? That's exactly what might happen with the upcoming Galaxy S26 series, especially with the rumored Galaxy S26 Edge. According to early reports, Samsung is planning a major upgrade to the ultra-wide-angle camera, jumping from the 12-megapixel sensor used on the Galaxy S25 Edge and S25 Plus to a much sharper 50-megapixel one. That's more than 4 times the resolution and a serious step forward for those who care about wide landscape shots, group photos, or dynamic videos. This new camera setup is expected to appear the model internally known as NPA2, where NPA stands for Next Paradigm, a codename suggesting that Samsung wants to push things further while still building on the current design. Internally, the S24 series was known as Eureka, and the S25 was Paradigm. Now with Next Paradigm, Samsung may not be drastically redesigning its phones, but it's clearly focused on key upgrades that matter. If the rumors are right, Samsung might skip the Plus model entirely this time and instead position the Galaxy S26 Edge as a high-spec middle child between the base S26 and the powerhouse S26 Ultra. That would make the S26 Edge the spiritual successor to both the S25 Plus and S25 Edge, combining the best of both in one model. While the overall design language might remain familiar, this shift in camera hardware alone could give users a very different experience, especially if Samsung includes additional enhancements like better low-light performance or improved video stabilization. On the Ultra side, the S26 Ultra is expected to maintain its dominance with a 200-megapixel main camera and a 50-megapixel telephoto lens offering 5x optical zoom. There's still mystery around the rest of the Ultra's camera setup, but it's already looking like a serious tool for mobile photography. The base Galaxy S26 isn't left out either. Past leaks hinted that it could also see a camera upgrade, though details are limited for now. And while battery life and processing power haven't been fully revealed yet, it's safe to expect Samsung will bring improvements there too, especially since every new generation aims to be faster and last longer. So while the Galaxy S26 series might not bring a totally new look, the internal upgrades, especially in camera hardware, seem worth the wait. The camera jump alone could set a new standard for ultra-wide photos in the Android space. If Samsung truly replaces the Plus model with the Edge and gives it cutting-edge hardware, users will have one less confusing choice and a better phone in return.